We hear this a lot. You hear it a lot. You need a personal brand as a business person, as somebody who perhaps is an entrepreneur, or perhaps you have an offering and you're not necessarily the sort of front person for it, but you've been told you need a personal brand in order to drive more people towards your business and your business brand. Let's talk about what this means. Does it mean that suddenly you've got to start TikToking your life until you literally don't have a private life? No, it doesn't. But yes, there is definitely some intrusion, I think. And let's talk a little bit about getting that balance and what you need to do in order to have this quote unquote personal brand. So, welcome back. I am Serena, and this channel is about PR with Serena Public Relations. I'm a chartered public relations practitioner, also a systems thinking practitioner. I have 20 plus years experience, multi-sector, and I am here to give you insight, know-how, ideas, implementation for you to implement public relations, comms, thinking, ideas, again, implementation into your business, into your entrepreneurship journey. So I have myself having more than one channel and more than one business, if you like, I have kind of struggled with this personal brand thing. The reason why I have struggled with this personal brand thing is that I have vlogged on and off and then didn't like it because I just found that it really wasn't me. I tried to do it. And then I realized, I know if I'm going to have a personal channel, then what I'm going to do is talk about my insights as I'm doing this journey of entrepreneurship, business, content creator life, and living this holistic life, which is why I have a channel called Serena Holistic Being, because I'm really talking about being holistic, not just from a systems thinking perspective and having this zoomed out approach to our business and media and politics. Since I have a channel where I provide commentary and analysis for that, I also want to provide that kind of holistic view, having taught yoga for 15 plus years and being a creative and a dancer. So for me, being holistic is really important. Do I document my life? No, because then it would take me out of my life and out of those moments that are really important, really crucial. I wouldn't get anything done if I was documenting everything. And if I had somebody document it for me, I would find that to be intrusive. And so I then wouldn't be able to be present in my process to get all the numerous different things I get done. And if I was documenting it, then it would most certainly take me out of the sort of spontaneous and the flow and the momentum that I need and that I rely on in order to get everything done. And also, I have a 9 to 5 job and I'm an adoptive special needs parent. There's no way that I'm going to be able to presently niche on any of those things and and document my life and create content about that. Number one, again, privacy is a big deal to me, and I will be visible on camera and on the mic in various guises for my businesses, for my content platforms, and with other people when I collaborate with them. But for me to then bring that into my daily life and literally just not even enjoy a coffee or a meeting with somebody, it would be a game changer in a bad way. And so I get it when people say, "Oh, that means that I've got to document everything." I get it. It would so severely take me out of my process. Now, if you're a Gary V, whose whole modus operandi, I hope I'm saying that right, whose whole thing is to speak off the cuff, to capture the nuggets of insight and information that are happening in meetings or after meetings, and having people around him to document it. And that's fine because that's his whole shtick, that's his whole thing. For me, it's not, because a lot of my work all of my work is behind the scenes work. I wouldn't capture my time with clients. I wouldn't capture my work with different businesses, or even people that I'm working with in a holistic health capacity, because that's private work. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I'm not prepared to bring to the fore, which is why when it's to do with public relations and comms, I'll provide training and courses and guidance for others, but I won't really bring somebody into the process, a very sort of confidential and private process. And so if you are somebody like that, a business like that, where I don't know, it just seems like a lot of work, then there could be some way that you can document and provide interesting content so that you do have that personal brand. So let's look at the possibilities of that. Again, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I appreciate you being here. This is Tutorial Tuesdays. I try and provide content every week. It's never scripted. It's always an idea, and then I come and I basically, as structured as possible, I'm off script, and I just want to sort of provide from all my sort of like experience and my 20 years of expertise, 20 plus years of expertise being in this field. I am a personally a fan of unedited content, because if I had to employ somebody or do the edits and the cuts myself, it would just be a whole other thing, and there'd be no way that I could get everything done. So my thing is to try and make this as engaging as possible without fancy cuts and without fancy edits, so that you stay engaged and get the value also that you need. So I talked a little bit about why sort of a personal brand and documenting myself kind of gave me the like shivers. I just didn't like it, the idea of it. But what I've done instead, so this is what I've kind of managed to do. This is how I managed to do it, is with my phone when I get an idea. With my phone, when I get an idea, or if I have some downtime, some sort of empty time, then I will literally jump on and do some talking, and it will always be holistic insights, and that will be for my YouTube channel. So it's very authentic, it's in the moment, it's not scripted, I'm not being strategic about it. Strategic enough for me to know that this is on a particular topic or niche of content. The same goes for Instagram. I do not have the kind of time and attention to invest in having a perfectly curated feed. I've tried it, but presently it's not really working for me. So what I do like to do is I like to capture short bits of video, and sometimes it'll just be all in the moment, or maybe I've kind of gathered them over time, and then over my favorite music and tracks, usually something from Cleo Soul or Leanne La Havas, who was the most recent one, Joy Crooks, just something, some music that sort of catches my vibe, and then I'll use that, and that'll be a reel for my Instagram profile. That's the most I'm going to do. But for personal branding for business, that's probably not sufficient, which is why then something like LinkedIn comes in, where perhaps I know that that's an area I need to develop a little bit more in order to post more sort of personal insights and not just have it be about business. That's as far as I'm going to manage. Honestly, that's as far as I can go. I don't know how much more I can do. Otherwise, it will take me out of my purpose and my focus and my intention for getting all the other things done. Sorry, I forgot to mention as well, I'm studying an MSc. So for me, time is precious. Time is precious, but not just time, attention is precious. If I'm too cluttered, then I can't get anything done, which is why I'm a very, very strict and very discerning about where I put my time and my attention. So if I was to then have to if I had to document everything, I think that suits somebody who just has that one thing that they do, and then they can do it as a side. But maybe that one thing that they do has so many different tentacles that takes them into these different headspaces, that adding another headspace, which is documenting, um, for a YouTube channel, for a personal brand, yeah, that might be too challenging. So what I would suggest is this: personal brand can be m- can manifest in different ways. Now, one way that I know is super possible for me, and it's something that I can do, and it doesn't matter where I am, is I can write a newsletter or a blog. And I can do that really quickly. Drafting it and coming back to it might be an issue because then I will get distracted with everything else. But I think this is kind of a forgotten method to connect with your people because everyone is expecting you to just be on screen all the time. What if you had a very personal brand newsletter or a Substack or a Medium where you've got some photos, you have your thoughts and some nuggets and some ideas, and maybe it is the journey of your business. And again, it's controlled by you, managed in the sense that edited and filtered and curated by you, so you don't have to say too much. But what that does do is it almost storyboards your content, because then that would be a springboard for you to go, oh, that could actually form a nice podcast episode, because I've got a series of posts over a year or over a quarter, financial quarter, or over a month that are all about this one facet of life as a business person, whatever, whatever. And I could produce a nice little video about it or a podcast conversation about it. And I don't necessarily have to start my own podcast. I could actually pitch it to an existing podcast and go on as a guest. So the thing about entering the personal brand realm this way is that it's not too much work. You can control it. And actually, as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, why did I do it that way? I do have two sort of blogs where one is about sort of holistic being and one is about business stuff. And you can actually subscribe to those. All the information is in the description. But I do wonder sometimes that, we are told to use these and it's all at our fingertips, but maybe it's not for the camera function. Maybe it's for the writing function as well. It doesn't have to be for the camera, the visual, the audio function. So I think that there are ways to go around this personal brand stuff. I know of some. It's actually a sort of a friend of the family, and I won't name them, but I really do like their style. They are an osteopath, and their feed is very much in keeping with who they are and what their style is. Their Instagram feed, it's never too much, never too little. It's profound, insightful, purposeful, intentional. It's not noisy. And even when they are on a podcast or in a newsletter, or I'm not sure, actually not sure if they have a newsletter, but if they are even on their own podcast, it's very consistent, and so it sort of builds trust. And although I know the person and I've been treated by the person, I can see why they are trusted and respected and seen as reliable in the sort of social sphere and on the in the online sphere, and perhaps even in their industry. So I think that less is more works. You don't have to go all the way in. More is more. Just be very mindful of your style, how you're doing it, and where you're doing it. That's probably some great advice for me as well, because I tend to create a lot on the go. A lot of my stuff is like, oh, TikTok here, Instagram reel here, post there, post there. So sometimes it's not as thought out and intentional as it could be. But, you know, you've got to cut yourself some slack and give yourself some grace, because this whole content creation thing, it's something that can also unfold, and it doesn't have to be completely perfectly planned right from the get-go. In fact, a lot of people, successful content creators, have said, and I think there was something on Modern Millie's channel about how they all are now in a niche that they didn't necessarily start with, because as they sort of went through their journey of creating content, they pivoted, they changed, they tweaked. So give yourself permission to do that as well. It's really important that we give ourselves permission to experience a creative process when we're doing this. So don't fret, don't stress, don't. Give yourself some grace, cut yourself some slack, try. And if you feel like there's a lot of pressure in creating a personal brand, then don't do it. Can you find some other way of connecting with your audience? And could it be a monthly newsletter directly to your customers where you can give a little bit more insight about who you are? That's a nice, neat, not too invasive, not too exposing way of doing it. So there are ways, the kind of levels to this. You can go all in and be another Gary V. Actually, Gary doesn't exactly bring you into his family. Does talk about his parents and his upbringing. I haven't seen that much of his content recently. Only now and then I'll see a clip of something. But having a personal brand doesn't necessarily mean you have to expose everything about your life. It just means you're letting people in to talk a little bit more about your ideas and your perspective, and also link it to your business and to your professional business brand. And then see how you go. See how you go. So I really hope this served you, this gave you value and ideas. And if you have any requests, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what kind of business you have. Let me know where you are on your journey of building a personal brand and what ideas you have. I will continue to provide you with Tutorial Tuesdays to bring this public relations, comms, and sort of wider marketing experience, um, with nuggets for your business growth and your professional growth and your entrepreneurial growth. And so please do find ways to connect with me, and I will see you in the next video.